All right, Oulton Park Fosters. If you're new to the track, this can be a pretty crash track, hard to pass on, and a lot of X's. So watch yourself by the end of the race. Make sure you don't have 17. As usual, I didn't really like the iRacing setup, so I changed quite a bit here. Um, Lowered the ride height, lowered the brake bias, um, stiffened up the front suspension, changed the toe in, um, and the big one is changed to a short stack for the gears. I found the standards you don't even really get up to the top revs, so that's a big change. So the track guide's going to be using my setup, so it may look a little different if you are using the iRacing setup. Um, so just be aware of that, and as usual, we'll go through the uh, corners in slow-mo and then run it out at full speed. If this helps you out, hit that like and subscribe. So, gonna do, it's a 1017. Track temp is 32 degrees, so hopefully this is representative of the week. I got caught out, I think, in one session where it was just always hot. So coming into turn one, fourth gear course, looking for the black markers here. Now I'm targeting the last little bit before the yellow bit. Not sure what that says. In real time, that's what I'm looking for as a brake marker, but obviously in slow-mo, I am on the brakes a bit earlier. Yeah, this Jordan part here is what I'm sighting for. Hard on the brakes, just a good blast of brakes to slow the car down. This apex is pretty blind, it's pretty late. You don't want to turn in too early, otherwise you're going to have to lift and lose a lot of time. And so you're just looking for this sandy wrecked piece of grass section here. You don't really want to get on that so much. You want to stick on the red curbs. But if you have to err, it's better to err on the side of getting onto this a little bit. If you run wide, you're really going to have to lift and you'll probably go off track and you may get a slowdown and blah blah blah. If you get onto this a little bit, it's not, I don't think it's faster. It's not faster for me, but it won't cost you as much time as if you run wide. And then picking up the throttle as early as possible. This section you're on full throttle for a bit of a time. Um, you want to run it out. You can get tired. Your left tire's on the grasscrete here. You can, I believe, I'm not quite sure what the rule is. I think if you keep your tires on the curbs, you're fine. But if you get all four tires on the grasscrete, you do get a 1x. And if you get really wide over, I think you actually can get a slowdown. So watch out for that. Um, yeah, people will be picking up a lot of X's through here in the race, so watch out. There might be some DQs even. So fourth gear, you want to keep it into the right side here, and then kind of looking for, you have to watch out, that hill kind of unsettles the car a little bit. There's a dip here, so before the dip, I'm lifting. Cold tires, I don't think you really want to brake, but you do definitely want to lift. Um, for sure, it's really easy to lose your back end through this section. And then using the red curbs here, again, I'm not quite sure what the rule is, but if you get your right tire over the white line, I think it is a 1x, so just watch out for that. And then you can see down here there is a dip in the track on the inside of the track. You want to get into that dip. That dip is really going to hook your car up. If you're out on the outside here, your back end is really going to want to step out on you. So watch out for that. This is a really tricky corner. There's going to be a lot of spins and such, especially on cold tires. So still in fourth gear, and then I'm actually targeting the grass section here, but again in slow motion. I am on the brakes a little bit earlier than that. Shifting down into second, you really have to slow the car down quite a bit. This is a lot tighter than it seems. And then just releasing the brake, rolling in. You don't want to get on this sausage curb. I find it just unsettles the car way too much. I think you'd have to have a much higher ride height and softer suspension to use that sausage curb. So you want to be right up against it, but not going over it. And this corner still, it will catch you out. You have to keep turning and keep turning. It is tight. So picking up the throttle as early as possible. You can get onto this curb if you came in a little hot. The only thing is you don't want to have a lot of steering input in there. If you've got your wheel turned much, this is actually pretty slippery. You can lose your back end, and again, you don't want to be really on the gas as well on this section. You just have to get over it and then pick up the gas. So keep it off of that, but if you do, just coast over it and you'll be okay. Otherwise, you will lose your back end and you'll be spinning. So just looking for the end of this curb here in third gear, turning in. Now this is pretty easy. It's flat out. The only trick is, and I'm trying to line it up with this pavement within the triangle here. I think if you get on the grass, that is an X, so don't try and cut it too much. And then just not even going over the curbs here, but just right up tight against the line. But what you have to watch through this section is this is the longest straight section. And listen to your tires, because if you turn the wheel too much, you will scrub actually quite a bit of speed, which will catch you out by the next turn in. So try and minimize the steering input here. You can lose, it's not a lot of time, but some time. So just keeping the steering to a minimum through that section, getting to the left-hand side. Now I'm using this green marker as my braking point again in real time. I'm braking at it, but in slow-mo I'm braking before it. Fourth gear, pretty good blast of brakes, just like turn one really. You just want to slow the car down so you can get the turn in. Right up tight against these curbs. If you have to air, it's better to take a little bit too much than come wide, I find. And then just picking up the power as early as possible, because you can lose a lot of time in here if you came in too hot. And then it's a double apex. You hit that one curb and then you're wanting to hit this one on exit. And again, I'd rather be on top of this than run wide. So if you've got to make a mistake, take a little bit more there rather than run wide. Otherwise you're going to have to lift and you may go off track and all that fun. Now this section is tough for a braking marker. There's a dip in the pavement. That's kind of my braking point, but if there's a car in front of you, obviously that's going to be very hard to see. So you can use this sign and this big tree, and basically you want to be braking in between the two of them. That's not the greatest thing to judge, but if there's a car in front of you, it's kind of your best bet. So hard on the brakes, fourth gear, shifting down into second. Again, this corner can catch you out, so you don't want to carry too much speed in there. It is pretty hard braking, and it is a late apex. Turning the car in, releasing the brake, rolling in, and getting up tight against these curbs. Now, I'm not sure exactly what the rule is. If you get a full tire on the grass section here, it is an X, I believe. So just don't try and cut it too tight, otherwise you will get that X. So yeah, I don't think you can get any closer than that without getting an X. And then just unwinding the wheel, picking up the throttle. You can use the curb here obviously on exit. You don't really want to put a tire in the grass. That's going to slow you down just a little bit. And basically keeping a tight line to the left side. You don't really want to come out here wide. That's not the faster route. And so that's a 1017. So good luck out there. Watch those X's. Keep your car pointed in the right direction, and you should have a good race. We'll see you next time.